Welcome back, everyone. We're diving into a real classic this time, Death of a Salesman.
Ah, Arthur Miller. This play really is something special, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's considered one of the greatest plays of, the entire 20th century. It's won a Pulitzer Prize for drama, a Tony Award for Best Play.
And don't forget all the revivals on Broadway.
Yeah, I mean, people keep coming back for more, and that's exactly what we're going to explore.
Why this play, even though it was written back in 1949, still hits audiences so hard today.
Right. It's like, how could a play about an aging salesman still be so powerful? So we're going to unpack the whole thing, the plot, the characters, those big themes.
All the things that make Death of a Salesman basically required reading if you're studying literature or just, love a good play.
Okay, let's start with the basics. The play takes us back to late 1940s Brooklyn, and we meet Willie Loman.
Our main man, 63 years old, a traveling salesman. And let me tell you, he's struggling.
Yeah, and he's got this unshakable belief in the American dream. That whole idea that if you work hard and you're determined, you can achieve anything.
But here's the thing. Willie's idea of the American dream, it's a little twisted. It's all about appearances. Looking successful, being popular.
Like he's convinced that charm and popularity will get you further than actual skill.
Exactly. And we start to see, as we learn more about Willie, that this belief, it's led him to make some pretty bad choices over the years, choices that are coming back to bite him now that he's older.
And you can really feel the pressure building on him. His career's falling apart. His sons are, disappointing him. And he's starting to lose his grip on reality.
It's heartbreaking to watch his mental decline. And Miller, the way he wrote this play, he blurs the lines between what's real and what's just Willie's memories.
It's like sometimes you can't tell if we're in the present or flashing back to Willie's past, which of course he remembers everything being so much better than it really was.
Right. Miller's so good at using that technique to show us how Willie's basically holding on to an image of himself, of his family, that never actually existed.
He's trapped in his own illusions, and that's what's going to lead to his downfall.
Now, speaking of family, we have to talk about Willie's sons, Biff and Happy, because they're both deeply affected by Willie's, his messed up view of the world.
Let's start with Biff, the older son. He's a complicated guy. He was a star football player in high school, living out Willie's dreams.
Yeah, he was everything Willie wanted to be.
But then Biff fails in college, and he becomes so disillusioned with his dad, with everything Willie stands for.
He's trying to find his own way, something real and true for him, but he keeps getting pulled back into Willie's orbit, back into those messed up expectations.
And then there's Happy, the younger son, always trying to get Willie's approval, just like Biff. And you see him falling into the same traps as his dad, chasing after material success, empty relationships.
It's like they're both caught in this undertow, this current of Willie's delusions, just struggling to break free and figure out who they really are.
And then we have Linda, Willie's wife.
Oh, Linda, she's so loyal, so supportive.
Even though she has to deal with Willie's emotional outbursts, his behavior that gets, more and more erratic.
She sees his pain, his struggles, and she's desperately trying to hold their family together, but it's a losing battle.
Like trying to keep a sinking ship afloat.
Linda, she's the voice of reason in this play. She knows about Willie's flaws, how he lies and exaggerates, but she still loves him, unconditionally.
And she spends the whole play trying to protect him from a reality he just refuses to face.
It's interesting how Miller uses the play's setting almost like it's a reflection of Willie's state of mind.
Oh, you mean like the Loman house?
Exactly. It used to be surrounded by these open fields, but now it's all boxed in by huge apartment buildings.
Wow, yeah, like Willie's feeling trapped, suffocated by the world changing around him and not being able to keep up.
Exactly. And Miller, he doesn't stop there. He uses lighting and sound to create this fluid, dreamlike atmosphere. Those shifts between the present and Willie's memories, they're seamless. It's like the audience is right there in his head.
Yeah, you really feel his confusion, his longing for the past, and how desperate he is to make sense of everything that's going on around him.
It's brilliant, really. That fragmented structure, it's key to understanding the whole theme of reality versus illusion. Because Willie's memories, they're not always accurate. He's idealized them, made them into these romanticized versions of what actually happened.
So he's clinging to those memories, to those moments of, supposed success and happiness. It's like he's trying to escape from all the disappointments in his life right now.
Right. And we, the audience, we're experiencing Willie's internal conflict. We're seeing how he's twisting those memories to fit his own narrative.
Which is, of course, totally unreliable.
And that, my friend, that's a key element of tragedy. Willie's inability to face the truth about himself, about his past, that's what's going to destroy him.
Now, for those of you who haven't seen the play or read it, I don't want to spoil the ending.
Let's just say it's powerful. Really makes you think.
But one of the things that makes Death of a Salesman so great, so timeless, is that it makes us think about our own lives, our own values. Willie's chasing after the American dream, and even though he goes about it all wrong, that desire for success, for recognition, a lot of us can relate to that.
For sure, we all have dreams, we have goals, and this play, it forces us to ask ourselves, what are we willing to give up to reach them? Are we, like Willie, chasing validation from other people? Or are we after something more, something genuine, something that truly matters? And this brings up a really interesting point, especially if you're looking at this play from a literary perspective. How does Miller use these characters and their relationships to explore these big, complex themes? Because each one, they represent a different aspect of the American dream, and of course, the ways can go wrong.
Like Biff, for example.
Yeah.
He's the one who shows us that it's possible to reject those societal expectations and find your own path.
Yeah, in the end, he chooses to be honest with himself about his limitations, and he finds happiness outside of those traditional ideas of success, which is a pretty bold move considering how much that goes against everything his dad believes.
Totally. And then you have Happy. He's still chasing the same empty promises that destroyed his father, stuck in that cycle of wanting things, wanting attention, but never really finding what he's looking for.
It's like they each represent a different reaction to Willie's legacy. Biff breaks free, while Happy repeats the cycle.
Okay, but what about Linda? What about her role as Willie's wife? How does that fit into the play's message?
That's a great question. Linda's a fascinating character. She's the one who enables Willie's delusions, trying to shield him from the truth, because she can't bear to see him face it.
But at the same time, she's the only one who really gets him, who sees how much he's hurting and understands why he acts the way he does.
Her love for him, it's unconditional, even when it's hard. Even when he doesn't deserve it, she's totally loyal. And in a way, she shows us the tragic side of that kind of unwavering love.
Yeah, it's a tough situation. And literary scholars, they debate her role all the time. Some say she's a victim of Willie's manipulation. Others see her as more complex. Like, she supports Willie, but she also enables his self-destructive behavior.
It's amazing how one character can spark so many different interpretations. And that's why Death of a Salesman is such a rich text for analysis. It's full of layers, ambiguities, and characters who just defy simple labels.
Miller doesn't give us easy answers or like a clear moral message. He just gives us these deeply flawed but human characters and asks us to figure out their choices, their motivations.
It's like he's saying, here's the story, now you decide what it means, and that's what makes this play so powerful, so lasting.
And speaking of lasting, we can't forget how much Death of a Salesman has impacted theater. It's been revived so many times, and each production brings something new to the table, a new way of looking at the themes and the characters.
Yeah, and think about all the huge names who've played Willie Loman, Lee J. Cobb, Dustin Hoffman, Brian Dennehy, Philip Seymour Hoffman, and those are just a few.
What's really amazing is that no matter when or where you see it, Death of a Salesman still resonates with audiences.
Right. Whether you're watching it on Broadway or reading it in a classroom, it just gets to you. It makes you feel things. Question your values. Think about what it really means to succeed or fail in a world that can feel so overwhelming.
Absolutely. And that universality, that's what makes a piece of literature truly great. It speaks to the core of what it means to be human, no matter the time period or the culture.
Exactly. It goes beyond those limitations. And speaking of the human experience, there's one more crucial aspect of Death of a Salesman that we have to talk about: the American dream, and how it all ties into Willie Loman's tragic end.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Willie's delusions, those struggles with his family, and the play's really unique structure. But let's get to the heart of it, the American dream. What's Miller trying to say about this big idea, and how does it connect to Willie's, well, tragic ending?
See, that's the thing. Miller doesn't give us a simple answer about the American dream. He doesn't say it's good or bad. What he does is show us how Willie's messed up interpretation of it, his focus on all the wrong things, like being popular and looking successful, leads to his downfall.
Right. Like we were saying before, Willie's all about appearances. He thinks charm and popularity will get you further than actual hard work or talent.
And he keeps telling himself these stories, right? About his past, about his brother Ben, who made a fortune in the diamond mines, about how he, Willie, could have been so much more.
It's like he's built his whole life on needing other people to tell him he's great. And when that starts to crumble, well, he just falls apart.
Exactly. And that's where the play's critique of the American dream really hits home. It asks us, what happens when we put so much emphasis on money and what other people think?
Does it really make us happy?
Yeah.
Or does it just set us up for a whole lot of disappointment?
That's the question Miller wants us thinking about. He's using Willie's story as a cautionary tale. Like, be careful what you wish for, because chasing the wrong dream can be dangerous.
And that feels super relevant today, right?
Mhm.
I mean, with social media and all this pressure to be successful, it's easy to get caught up in comparing yourself to others.
Oh, absolutely. We're constantly bombarded with images of perfect lives. It's easy to start measuring your worth by what you have or how many likes you get. But this play, it challenges us to think about what really matters. What does success really mean to us? Are we chasing after something real and meaningful? Or just empty promises and likes?
And that's where Biff comes in, right? He shows us a different way, a way to reject Willie's messed up view of the American dream.
Biff figures out that real happiness, it's about accepting yourself, about finding work that you enjoy, even if it doesn't make you rich or famous.
Even if it disappoints his dad. He chooses to be his own person.
Which is a really powerful message, I think. It shows that even though the American dream can be tempting, it's not the only way to find a life that has meaning.
Yeah, it gives me hope. So, to sum it all up, Death of a Salesman, it makes us question what we believe in, what we value, and what it truly means to be successful and happy.
Exactly. And that's why this play still resonates with audiences today. It's a play that stays with you, that makes you think.
So if you haven't seen or read Death of a Salesman, I highly recommend it. It's an experience you won't forget. And that's it for our deep dive into Arthur Miller's masterpiece. Until next time, keep exploring those great works of literature.